I am Professor Nimit Chowdhary. I represent Indian Institute of Tourism and Travel Management, which is an organization of Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. We have campuses in different parts of the country. I head the South India campus based out of Nellore. Just a small correction. I'll be talking more about challenges faced by tourism entrepreneurship, and that is what I've been mandated to talk about. I have a presentation, but I prefer not to run the presentation because of the paucity of time, the limitation that we have. I'm only pitching in, and to put things in perspective, I start by making a few postulates or a few assertions. One, tourism is very important. It's growing in importance with every passing day. Indian tourism is doing really very well. Our global rank has improved. Our competitiveness has improved. Our share in the global tourism market has improved. And to put it in numbers so that it's understood, 10%, roughly 10%, it's actually 9.3% of our GDP. Tourism contributes around 9.3% of our total GDP. It contributes around 9.6% of total employment in the country, which is almost at par with the global standards. Globally, 1 in 11 jobs is related to tourism, and 10% GDP, global GDP, is because of tourism. So that's the importance of tourism. But that is not the only reason why tourism is important, and you'll understand and you'll appreciate that all kinds of governments, state governments, central governments, government of small countries, governments of big countries, everyone has tourism on its agenda today. And we need to understand the reason. Obviously, it brings in a lot of money for the country, for the state, for the city, or whatever place it is. But there's one more reason which is very, very important, is the ability of tourism to distribute money within a place. So it's actually growth with equity. The equitable distribution of money that is generated out of tourism is one of the strengths of tourism. Because, say for example, a tourist goes to a remote places, he goes there and directly spends money at that place. So you don't have a central government or a state government sitting at the city, at the capital city, and then transferring funds and coming up with developmental things. The money goes directly into the local economy, and this ability of tourism makes it a sought after sector. It does what governments have been trying to do for a long time, so it does it naturally. That's the characteristic of tourism. And because of this characteristic, that the money gets distributed because a lot of local people get involved in tourism. It's essentially a low-paying sector, which is actually an advantage for the sector, because then it is an added advantage for the local people to take up entrepreneurship, to take up tourism. They become entrepreneurs. Tourism itself is a local product. So your local feel, your local experience, your local things is the product in tourism. So this localization, this ability to focus and leverage on the local elements of a place is the strength of tourism. And therefore, different estimates say that 97 to 98% of companies involved in tourism are micro, small, and medium-sized tourism enterprises. So that is the, volume, or that's the share of small businesses in tourism. But one more thing. Since governments are interested in promoting tourism, governments have a very, very important, significant role to play in the development of tourism. Unfortunately, this is not reflected in their vision. Perhaps governments in the emerging economies, which also includes India, and number of state governments within India, they don't realize the importance of importance of tourism entrepreneurship in the development of a place. The global experience is that to develop a place for tourism, one of the fundamental interventions is development of tourism-related enterprises. The mandate for me to share with you today are some of the challenges that tourism entrepreneurship faces, and based on the researches that we have been doing and our engagement with various state governments over the years is, one of the challenges is that most of these small enterprises which are into tourism are basically Fabian and drone kind of enterprises, which are very traditional kind of businesses, and they essentially lack creativity. Another challenge faced by tourism industry is that there is a lot of local socio-cultural, backlash from the community, especially in smaller places when someone tries to set up a tourism enterprise, and there's a lot of seasonality. Tourism businesses are also, one of the challenges that they are very seasonal businesses. Conventionally, the tourism season in India is, as far as the international tourist is concerned, it starts from October and it runs through March next year. So that's around 5 months, 6 months, and there are definitely efforts to make it a round the year kind of a business. At the micro level, what are the challenges faced by tourism entrepreneurship? A few of them, I'm just listing them, not discussing them much. One is the poor entrepreneurial skills. One of the experience that I can share with this audience is that we are one of the premier institutes of tourism in the country. And one of the good things that we have observed is that within 3 to 4 years of passing out of our students who pass out from the institute, they start thinking in terms of setting up their own enterprises. I shared with you the reasons. It's a local business, a small thing. You need just a chunk of customers. You need a few connections in some part of the world. Say, for example, 2 regions in Germany is what you have a good database, and then you can start a company based on this kind of a network. So that is important. But they lack poor entrepreneurial skills, how to start a company, how to manage their risks. Are some of the challenges that have been there. Are some of the challenges that they have pointed out. Interpersonal skill, it's a contact-intensive industry. So it really doesn't need a lot of education and a lot of other things, but yes, it requires a lot of interpersonal skills. Language skills are very, very important. I'm not saying English language skills. Tourism is about markets and targeting particular markets. Say, for example, China is the world's #1 sender of tourists. Outbound tourism is huge for China, but when Chinese come they will go to all the places. They are not coming to India, and the reason is simple. India is not China ready. Our entrepreneurs are not China ready. So that's the kind of skills that I'm talking about. Just a few things, sir. 3, 4 points. Low penetration of technology. The way business is organized is changed, but our entrepreneurs are not ready. Say, for example, mobile technologies, use of social media, they're still not ready with those. Marketing wisdom in terms of marketing research, ability to target markets, research markets, target markets, and position their products and place their products is really a challenge. And the last couple of things, they lack service attitude. There's a general tendency, especially at the lower end, to shoot and scoot. Meet a customer, try to rob him of anything and everything, and then you run away believing that he's not going to come back. That doesn't work. In the process, it creates a bad brand for the place. And one of the challenges is to fail to change with times. The way businesses are being run, the way tourism is being organized is changing at a very, very rapid pace, but our entrepreneurs are not ready for this kind of change. So what I'm trying to say is that there's a huge need for tourism entrepreneurship, and when you go out and when we need to plan, skill development in terms of tourism entrepreneurship, these skills which I just listed out need to be addressed, and these need to be included in the training programs that we design for our tourism entrepreneurs. Thank you. Thank you very much.